Today I'll be discussing the CSS Overflow property. This property helps us control what happens to contents that is too big to fit in a certain area. It allows us to either clip some of the contents or rather add scroll bars when the content is too big to fit in a specific area. On the right here, we have a series of boxes that are different heights. The text fits perfectly into the area. This is due to us not declaring specific heights for our boxes. If let's say we want a specific height over here, we could just add the height property and then 200 pixels. Now if I save that, we achieve the height property that we wanted over here. But now we have a new issue. The text is now overflowing in each box, as the area it was once in is too small to fit everything. That is where the overflow property comes into play. We'll go right over here and target our first box, so box 1, and we're going to use the overflow property. Now by default, this is visible. This means that the content renders outside of our box instead of being inside, as you can see over here. Even if I save this, nothing will really change because this is the default property. Now if you targeted our second box over here, so box 2, and use the same overflow property, but now this time we use hidden. If we save that, what you'll notice over here in the second box is that the text is now clipped and the rest of it is hidden. We can't really do much with our text in this case, but this value can be useful for some things like CSS animations. Now from here, we can target our third box and use the third value of overflow. Now the third one is known as scroll. As the name says, if we save this, now our box should have two scroll bars. One in the y-axis and one in the x-axis. This is just in case our content overflows in either direction. We can now interact with the box over here by scrolling up and down. Our last box over here, box 4, I'm just going to target it quickly. This one will have a similar value to scroll. So overflow, and then over here we're going to use auto. Now if I save this, what you notice is that it also adds a scroll bar, but only where it's necessary. Meaning that if our text did in the future expand in the x-axis over here, then that scroll bar would appear. If you wanted more of a manual approach to this, you could use overflow property but then choose the y or x axis, then use any of these values to make them react differently. Now there are ways to hide your scroll bars without affecting your website visually. In my main browser, which is Firefox, it's as simple as going to an element with scroll bars, in case our third box, and then you type in Scrollbar-width, and then from here you just say none. Now if I save this, we have a nicer look to our box over here, but we can still scroll up and down. The scrollbar-width property only really works on Firefox though. It's not supported on many other browsers, so do use the property with caution. If however you wanted to read more about hiding scroll bars in different browsers and accessibility reasons, I will link some resources below, as this would go beyond the scope of this video. Other than that, there really isn't much more I can discuss when it comes to the CSS Overflow property. Hope you guys found this video helpful, and as always, if you have some questions, do let me know down below and I'll answer as best as I can. With that, I'll see you guys in the next one.